You've probably heard the saying, do as I say, not as I do. It's something that I heard a lot growing up, and I've worked with many beautiful souls who had children, and they didn't come to me to help them with their children. They were dealing with other issues within themselves that came up in the process of coaching or therapy. And one of the things I would want to alleviate, for example, would be I don't want to be so angry at my kids. I'm angry at my kids and I know it's me, and I don't understand why they're behaving this way, but I need to have more patience. I feel rushed and I feel like I'm not being a good parent. So we dive into the work that we do. We dive into the subconscious and we begin to unravel things. And what most people don't realize that can become so triggering with children or teens is that we can tell them, do as I say, not as I do. We can teach them all the ways we would like them to show up in the world. But at the end of the day, they watch us. They watch us and they are going to mirror what we do. It doesn't matter what we say. It's called mirroring. It's a biological, psychological phenomenon, but also they learn. They learn from us. They see how we speak to other people. They see when we feel pressure, what we do to cope with that pressure. And it's all subconscious. They're not walking around with a little notebook going, oh, how does mom handle this? How does dad handle that? It's very subtle. It's environmental. It's the subconscious mind processing very quickly in young children what is required to survive and to thrive in the environment that they are in. So if there's something, that you want them to do differently from you, then it's imperative that you learn to undo that behavior yourself. People pleasing, validation seeking, the way you handle, obstacles, challenges, people not agreeing with you, and being under pressure. And I want to be very, very clear. It's not your fault. There's no blame here because most people, when they have children, you're still growing and figuring out who you are. You're building your career, you're building your life. You have children on top of it. Children don't come with a user's manual. And you haven't lived, most people haven't lived enough life yet to have the space and time to see the patterns and say, oh, I want to change this, or I want to change that, or to find a better way of coping. So this isn't about guilt, but I want to share with you how doing your own inner work will fundamentally change your children. Now, if your children are over the age of 7 or 8, you know, they can still change. They most definitely can still change, but it's not going to be as organic as what you are about to hear, because I'm going to tell you the story of Justina. She was on my podcast. We did 2 episodes together, I think numbers 11 and 79. She came to me simply because she was wanting to be a better partner in her relationship. And through the process of letting go of conditioning that she had picked up as a child, for this is how you survive in a relationship, even though she had made conscious choices to not be in the same type of relationships and the same types of situations, her little brain had learned certain coping mechanisms. And they were keeping her from connecting at the level that she knew she wanted to connect and was capable of connecting in her relationship. We hit a critical mass point in that work. And she had just a huge emotional processing and emotional release. Some people say neutralizing emotions. It's the same thing. She messaged me later that day And she said, "Oh my God, you were not going to believe what happened." And this message that she sent me that day changed me. I've had a lot of events in my life that changed me, that happened personally to me. But this message from her changed me, and it added another layer of depth to how I see the work that I do. And it just doubled down my commitment to work with people who want to improve their relationship with themselves, who want to love themselves more, have that core deep self-esteem and self-confidence, and to trust and accept themselves, and to know that they're resourceful, that they don't have to rely on others. That's different from being resourceful and choosing to rely on others. And maybe I'll do a whole other video on that, but that's a little too deep for here because there's nuance in that. And we have to really know ourselves. That saying, know thyself. We have to know ourselves to be able to parse that out. But she messaged me and she said, I walked out of the bedroom. I walked into the other part of the house, and my son, I'm not going to say his name, he was 3.5, 3.5 at the time. He ran up to me. He jumped into my arms, hugged me, and said, "I love you, Mommy." Now, for a lot of you, you're probably thinking, big deal. Her son was not a hugger. He just didn't like to embrace in that way. And he was 3.5, he had never told her, "I love you." Her doing that work broke a generational pattern that he is now not going to carry. He is free of that because she chose to do this work. Now, yes, sometimes it's very true that home and parents in the environment that's familiar becomes a very safe place for a child to act out when they don't know how to communicate what they're feeling, because children do not know what their feelings are. They do not know what's stressing them. They don't know how to articulate it or communicate what they need. When they're in those triggered moments, if you're getting triggered, there's work for you to do. And believe me, I had that work to do as well. But there's work to be done there. If you are getting triggered by your children being children because their experience is resonating something inside of you. And there was another client that came to me, it was all business related, but one of the collateral benefits that she wanted to achieve, not the main thing, but the collateral benefit, I would just really not to be so angry with my children. Like, they do children things and I get triggered, I get angry. And the thing that the mind had connected was so completely and totally unrelated that it defies logical belief. It really, really does. But her entire life, she had felt rushed. She felt like she needed to get things done. She had just always been a fast-paced moving person. And the anger she was feeling is when her kids would need something, or when she would have to slow down to meet her children where they were. She was getting angry and she didn't know why. And the reason why she was getting angry is because there was this this nervous system. It wasn't even a belief. It was a nervous system imprint of being rushed. The nervous system was constantly creating this feeling of being rushed. Do you want to know what created it? This is going to blow your mind. But when we took care of this, it neutralized everything. She was born in what is called a precipitous delivery. In other words, when her mother went into labor, she came very quickly, and the nervous system picked up that imprint of all the adrenaline and all the hormones moving through her mother's body. Her nervous system picked up on that. And then when she was born, there was just all the chaos of like, oh my gosh, we weren't ready for this. The nurses, the doctors, the parents, that there was overwhelm. all of that imprinted in her nervous system. And people will say that cannot happen. I'm telling you, it absolutely can. I have many, many stories just like that of clients. So when you are wanting to shift the relationship with your children, when you're wanting that to change, if you're feeling impatient or you're getting angry with them or you don't understand what's going on, when you start by shifting yourself, you begin to parent differently. And then they have a different model to mirror. And this is not about perfection. It's about simply doing our best. And it doesn't mean that there was anything done wrong before, because at that time, with the knowledge you had, with the experience of life, with all the resources you had, the majority of people are doing their best. I will not discount the fact that there are some people who just don't know how to be nice. You're not one of those people, or you wouldn't have listened this far in the video. That I can tell you. I know that much about people. If you are interested in understanding more about your emotions, what drives your emotions, what your emotions are telling you, so that you can better help your children, you can better help yourself, and maybe just kind of get a taste of what this is all about, I have something called Resonance. It's a 90 minutes, almost 2 hour master class that Tina and I did, where we walk people through this very thing. And then Tina leads a mind, body, spirit self-hypnosis at the end, giving you a gift of something that's worth far more than the $11 of the investment to carry through your life and help you to ground, center, and find peace in the moment. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, and drop a comment below letting me know what your biggest insight or takeaway was today.